Hello, everyone. Kim Victoria here, and this is my latest journal that I've just finished. I'm calling it Ocean Blue, and this is a flip through today, and it is full of blue. Lots of blue paper, hand dyed and otherwise, and then a little bit of tea dyed paper just for have a little sand effect going in here. Straight off. Okay, this is a cloth cover. It's a chipboard covered with cloth. This is acrylic paint going through a stencil. It's a compass star, which is um, it's just a version of the compass star, which is kind of a nautical kind of a thing. It's not really a nautical journal, but there's a few elements like that in here and a little netting just for fun. This is fruit netting, some kind of fruit or vegetable and I hand stitched it on. So there's a little bit of jute cord going through the side here, and then I hand stitched the whole thing on, and it's hand stitched all the way across and in the back, and then I stitched it around the third signature cord. So that's hand stitched all the way up. And you can see we have some little die cut fish, starfish, and these are just anchored in with just a little bit of glue because they were all falling to the bottom. I did, however, let the seashells flop around. I was able to slip these between the netting, and they seem to be staying just fine. So, they just add a little element of fun. So that's what's happening there, and we'll get to the back in a minute. So I did something a little bit different there. So let us dive in here. All right. This is some really pretty cord I happen to have, and what I did was I wove it through the netting a little bit, and it's underneath here, so it would stay put. It doesn't just fall out. Okay, so here we have our cloth cover, and this is some scrapbook paper, and I put the cloth cover on some scrap cloth on the inside. So you kind of see some scrap cloth throughout, little bits and pieces. So this is a cloth ruffle, and there's a few of those. And I did a lot of stamping and stenciling, and there's a lot of pages in here. There's 156 pages front and back, three signatures. And I made a lot of pockets. So if you make a lot of pockets, you've got to make a lot of tags, right? So there's a lot of tags and journaling spots throughout. Lots to play with and look at. Let's see, there were 47 tags, journaling spots, that sort of thing, and then 5 notepads. And this is the first of those 5. And so some of the junk is that this was one of those daily calendars, and here's some pages from a uh, a to-do kind of calendar with some other pages in there. So there's 5 of those little guys. And here's some more of that cloth. And this was fun. This was old utility bills, and the very last page sometimes was blank. So I made use of it. It was, had blue and yeah. So I had a little fun with that. You'll see that throughout as well. Perfectly good paper. Why not use it, right? There's a lot of images. So I just want to say about the images is that they are all from National Geographic, some old ones. I think about I don't know, it looked like I think they were about 15 years old, the National Geographics. So you'll see those throughout, and then there's scrapbook paper throughout, and my dyed paper. So I did do a lot of dyeing of my own paper. Uh, I don't remember everything. Which colors did I use? I don't quite remember. I know there's some Easter egg dyed, and I diluted it so that it wouldn't be so vivid. I wanted a more subtle look. I also have some stickers. I had a couple of things of stickers, and I used them all up, and they're really cute. And this was I had a 6x6 paper pad, and I didn't use it all up, but I did use quite a bit of it. So, yeah, coelacanth. Why not? I have the stamp. I might as well have fun with it. So I have a couple of these in the journal, which is, greeting cards, blank. Had some fun with edging scissors. Another stencil with some stickers. Little waterfall. And I used the compass star throughout as a motif. And this was fun. I hadn't done this before. I mean, it's really, really simple. Is I just used the decorative edge wavy scissors on an extra piece of paper and then lined it up and just inked to create this edge. You know, you can kind of see it with the other one where you could just line it up and ink it and you get that fun edge. And yeah, this was some of the Easter egg dyed paper that I diluted so it wouldn't be too vivid. And here's one of those little die cut fish that's in the front. We have some vellum. Little piece of fabric. There's a few of those in here. I had these little scrap bits of fabric. So here's the wavy edge thing again, just layered. It comes out really fun. And these came as a set, this paper and the vellum, they came as a set in a book of vellum papers. And here we have our pretty National Geographic images. Really big, lovely writing cards. Some more stickers. And what I did with the stickers that might be worth mentioning is that they kind of disappeared on the dark blue paper. Whoops. So I just took a blue ink pen and did an outline around them so they would pop out more and with their bubbles. I just felt that really enhanced their images. So that's just a little idea. A couple more of those tags. And this was again having a little fun. This scrap fabric was very irregular. And this one kind of looked like the hull of a boat. So I made a tag that kind of looked like the hull of a boat. And there's some more of that utility paper. Just a little playful silliness. This is a paper ruffle. Okay, and signature number 2, I did have a couple of dolphin images, so we can see a dolphin there. Some more of that scrap fabric. And I just layered these utility offcuts. And all these little corner pockets are flip ups. And there's corner pockets in all the signatures. Another one of those die cuts. So now this one, I just wanted to mention that this edging, this was actually from the quilting department. It's a stencil for the sewing pattern to use on quilts. So I thought that was kind of a fun alternative stencil design, kind of like seaweed or something like that. So this was different. I've never done this before. Now, this was what I did the first time before I made the cover, is I used some fruit netting. Again, some kind of fruit or vegetable netting, and it's stitched on. There's no glue on it, and then of course it is stitched in the middle and then of course sewn in. And here are the other little books, little notepads from the old calendar. And they make fun pockets. This is a fold out with another journaling card. I just really liked that big fish image, and this is how I decided I would make use of it, all stitched down. Another one of those big journaling cards. And there actually is a boo-boo there, so I used some boo-boo tape. This one is some Tim Holtz tape. So why not, you know? Why discard that page when I can fix it at the same time? And I just wanted to kind of like, I don't know, just fun with that. Just glued that on. I have a big tag. And this is another one of those die cuts. I just stitched it onto a cloth pocket. Now, the envelope, usually when I put an envelope inside, I do add like offcuts and little pieces of paper that someone can decide to use somewhere else in the journal. Well, I have quite a few offcuts. So I have a separate envelope. So this journal will be is for sale in my Etsy shop as of making this video. And I have a whole separate envelope. So you can, I have an envelope full of some of the little images and various offcuts and bits and pieces that can be used to embellish the journal further. And the other thing that I wanted to include it was some more seashells. I mean, you know, whoever winds up with this journal, they might want some more seashells for the front or elsewhere. And this is a fun bookmark that was in my stash, so I am including it here. And I still have some of these rubber stamps in the shop. These were created by Circus Stamps, and there are 20 in the set. So there's a lot of variety, and they all look like things you find on a sandy beach. They're just lovely. And I just still have some in my Etsy shop, and you'll find all those links down below in the description box. So if you are interested in beachy kinds of rubber stamps, these are just lovely. And you know, you can see you can use them individually as well as a set. And this is not even half. There are 20 images in the set. And some of them, you know, they all go across to each other, but they're sectional. So please do check it out if that interests you, okay? And it's just a paper clip with some little bits of paper. Another one of those irregularly shaped offcuts of fabric. So this whole thing is about ocean and water and kind of that waviness and fluidity. So those kinds of shapes work really well. And here's one more of that particular vellum and paper set. You can see the fish reflected there. And for this one, I chose some seashells. And this is a motif from this is some wallpaper sample. And that's the shell motif for the wallpaper. And some more tags and more tags, lots of tags. As I said, there's 47. Here's one more of those offcuts. There's 47 tags and journaling cards and things like that in this whole journal. So really, I think I have there's some sandy pages. Mostly it's blue. This was one of those pages where I crinkled it up while it was wet in the dye bath. But then I also used a brush for ink, you know, pushing the ink, kind of skirting over the top of the wrinkles to get a little extra of that kind of watery kind of look. I mean, you can see like this kind of catches that watery kind of look, right? And Okay, so this is the back cover, and I wanted to create this belly band, and I decided that what I would do, this is our writing board, and it's really stiff, a really sturdy card. And I wanted to create this belly band, and I decided I would go all the way around, and I haven't done it this way before. So this is some more of the cloth. You can see the same cloth was in here, and there was just this long strip. So why not make it into a belly band? Now this actually could come off. It's just wrapped around. It's not sewn or glued to the cover. And on the back, what I decided I would do is I turned under the sides and stitched it, and then I added eyelets so that I could do this kind of macrame looking thing. I sort of I ad-libbed. There are square knots in here and a few half hitches and that sort of thing, but I just made a really long length of this really fine jute cord and just had a go at it. So anyway, it does create kind of a neat pocket for the back as well as the inside. And as I said, this whole thing would slide off if one wanted to. This is a from wallpaper sample, shell motif, and I decided I would just make another little booklet. So again, got a couple of tags with kind of bullet spots on it. And the junk part of this one definitely is, this is some more, I think this was a different, I think this might have been a phone bill instead of a utility bill. And there was a barcode down there. So I just put seashells on top of the barcode. So there is some junk in this junk journal, but it's really new because those pages, there was nothing wrong with them. So why not use them? And this goes so nicely in there and it fits very tight. And I have this woven through. So yeah, so the closure stays put. And you can see it's nice and chunky. It was a less chunky without all of the um, tags and journaling spots, but so it's got a little bounce to it. Yeah. So anyway, that is my ocean blue, and I hope you saw an idea or two that maybe inspires your own journal making. And I thank you so much for watching and being here. And those, those of you who are subscribers, I'm super grateful that you have subscribed. And yeah, give me your comments, give me a thumbs up, the usual routine. So see the little seashells like to float around. Um, so yeah, more seashells could be put in there for sure. And this again is available in my Etsy shop. And all my journals will go in my Etsy shop that I am selling. And so this was fun. What I do a lot of times is I have like some box trays that I set out. And as I find things that match a theme, and I have a couple of themes off to the side I haven't done yet, but this theme, the box got full. There were the seashells, there were these little die cuts, I had the cord, I had this stencil, and I had dyed a lot of blue paper. And so the bits and pieces came together. And that's a lot of times that's how I am making journals at this point is I create these little trays with themes. And then as I find things and things come to me, I just add them to that tray. And when it gets full, it's time to make a journal. And that's what happened with this one. So thank you so much for being here and watching. I hope you're inspired, and I hope you'll join me in my next video. So in the meantime, have fun, play, and blessings to you. Bye bye.